Hey there, folks! Welcome back to another episode where we dive into the most bizarre and unexpected stories from the world of law and order. Tonight, we're diving into the wacky world of lawsuits, and trust me, this one is going to leave you scratching your head. Specifically, we're talking about a certain energy drink that promises to give you wings. Yes, you guessed it, we're talking about Red Bull. Now, we've all seen the commercials with dudes flying off mountains, performing extreme sports, and doing all sorts of adrenaline-pumping activities. But did you ever think someone would take that literally? I mean, come on, it's just a catchy slogan, right? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because that's exactly what happened. This story is a roller coaster ride of legal drama and unexpected twists. One man decided to sue Red Bull because, get this, he claimed their beverage didn't actually give him wings. I know, right? It sounds like something straight out of a comedy sketch. You'd think a product called Red Bull would come with a disclaimer or two. Maybe something like, warning, this drink will not actually make you fly. But hold your horses because the story gets even wilder. This isn't just about a frivolous lawsuit, it's about how the legal system sometimes works in mysterious ways. Not only did this guy sue Red Bull, but he actually won. Can you believe it? The court sided with him, and it wasn't just a symbolic victory. That's right, a judge awarded him a cool $13 million for his troubles. $13 million. That's a lot of money for a case that sounds like it belongs on Judge Judy. Now, I'm no legal eagle, but that seems like a lot of dough for a case that sounds more like a punchline than a serious legal matter. But hey, that's the world we live in. So, grab your favorite energy drink, or maybe not, settle in, and let's unravel this bizarre legal saga together. It's a story that will make you question everything you thought you knew about advertising and the law. And remember, kids, always read the fine print, especially if you're planning on sprouting wings after a can of Red Bull. Because as this case shows, you never know what might happen if you take advertising too literally. This case made headlines around the world, and it sparked a lot of debates about consumer rights and the responsibilities of advertisers. Some people thought it was a joke, while others saw it as a serious issue. Legal experts weighed in, and opinions were divided. Some argued that the lawsuit was a necessary wake-up call for companies to be more honest in their advertising. Others felt it was an abuse of the legal system. But regardless of where you stand, one thing is clear. This case has left a lasting impact. Red Bull had to change their advertising to make it clear that their drink won't actually give you wings. And the man who sued? Well, he walked away with a hefty settlement and a place in the annals of legal history. It's a reminder that sometimes, the little guy can take on a big corporation and win. So next time you see a commercial with an outrageous claim, take a moment to read the fine print. You never know what surprises might be lurking there. And that's our story for tonight, folks. A tale of wings, lawsuits, and a whole lot of money. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for more unbelievable stories from the world of law. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and always question what you see on TV. Good night. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this lawsuit, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. The 1980s were a time of big hair, neon colors, and some of the most memorable advertising campaigns in history. It was an era where brands were not just selling products, they were selling dreams, aspirations, and lifestyles. Red Bull, the beverage that's become synonymous with extreme sports and all-nighters, burst onto the scene back in the 80s. It wasn't just another drink on the shelf, it was a revolution in a can. The idea was simple, yet groundbreaking. A drink that could boost your energy and keep you going when you needed it the most. This sugary concoction, with its iconic blue and silver can, promised to give you wings and help you conquer any task, no matter how daunting. Whether you were cramming for exams, pulling an all-nighter at work, or just needing that extra push to get through the day, Red Bull was there to lift you up. And you know what? It worked. People from all walks of life started to rely on Red Bull to get that much-needed energy boost. It became a staple in college dorms, offices, and even at sports events. The promise of wings was more than just a catchy slogan, it was a lifeline for many. Red Bull became a global phenomenon, sponsoring everything from Formula One racing to cliff diving. Their involvement in extreme sports wasn't just about brand visibility, it was about embodying the spirit of adventure and pushing the limits. Red Bull wasn't just a drink, it was a lifestyle choice. They had catchy slogans, cool commercials, and enough brand recognition to make even Coca-Cola jealous. Their marketing campaigns were a masterclass in creating a brand that people didn't just recognize but also felt a connection to. Red Bull was more than a product, it was an experience. But with great success comes great responsibility, or in this case, great lawsuits. As Red Bull's popularity soared, so did the scrutiny. People started to question the claims made in those flashy commercials and catchy slogans. Could a drink really give you wings? Was it all just clever marketing? You see, Red Bull's marketing strategy, while undeniably effective, relied heavily on hyperbole and exaggeration. They painted a picture of a drink that could transform your life, make you more adventurous, and give you the energy to do the impossible. But at the end of the day, it was still just a drink. They were essentially selling a lifestyle, an image, a feeling, rather than just a drink. The commercial showed people doing incredible things, living life to the fullest, and always with a can of Red Bull in hand. It was aspirational marketing at its finest, but it also set some unrealistic expectations. And that's where our friend, the Wingless Wonder, comes in. He was one of many who bought into the hype, believing that Red Bull could give him the boost he needed to achieve his dreams. But when reality didn't match the marketing, disappointment set in. He saw those commercials, he heard those slogans, and he thought, hey, if Red Bull can make a guy jump out of space, surely it can give me some wings. Spoiler alert, it didn't. The realization that the drink couldn't live up to its promises led to a wave of disillusionment, and eventually, legal action. The lawsuit that followed was a landmark case in advertising law. It wasn't just about one man's disappointment, it was about holding a company accountable for the claims it made. The court had to decide whether Red Bull's marketing was misleading and if consumers were being duped by the promise of wings. In the end, Red Bull settled the lawsuit, agreeing to pay millions in compensation to affected consumers. It was a wake-up call for the industry, a reminder that while creativity in advertising is important, it should never come at the cost of honesty and integrity. Today, Red Bull continues to be a popular energy drink, but with a more cautious approach to its marketing. The promise of wings may still be there, but it's now accompanied by a disclaimer, reminding consumers that it's all in good fun. The brand has learned that while it's great to inspire and excite, it's equally important to be truthful and transparent. So, the next time you crack open a can of Red Bull, remember the journey it's been on. From its explosive debut in the 80s to the courtroom battles and beyond, Red Bull has shown that it's not just a mixer anymore. It's a symbol of energy, adventure, and the power of marketing done right. Cheers to that! Now, I know what you're thinking. This guy sued Red Bull because he didn't grow wings? It sounds like the setup to a joke, right? But believe it or not, this is a real case that made its way into the courtroom. Seriously? And to that, I say, yes, seriously. This isn't just some urban legend or a story you hear at a bar. This actually happened, and it's a fascinating look at how marketing and consumer expectations can collide in the most unexpected ways. But before you write him off as a complete loon, let's hear him out. There's more to this story than meets the eye, and it raises some interesting questions about advertising and consumer protection. Our plaintiff, let's call him Gary, argued that Red Bull's marketing was misleading. Gary wasn't just some random guy off the street. He was a regular consumer who felt genuinely deceived by the company's advertising. He claimed that the company's constant use of the phrase "Red Bull gives you wings" led him to believe that the drink would actually give him, well, wings. Now, of course, we all know that's not literally possible, but Gary's point was about the broader implications of such a bold claim. Gary's lawyers argued that Red Bull's advertising implied that their product could provide enhanced physical abilities beyond what a typical energy drink could offer. They weren't just talking about a caffeine boost. They were suggesting something almost magical. They pointed to the company's sponsorship of extreme sports and their use of slogans like "Red Bull gives you wings" as evidence. These events often feature athletes performing incredible feats, and the branding suggests that Red Bull is a key part of their success. Now you might be thinking, come on Gary, it's just a figure of speech. And sure, most of us understand that. But Gary's argument was that not everyone does, and that's where the problem lies. But Gary's legal team argued that Red Bull's marketing was deliberately ambiguous, blurring the lines between reality and fantasy. They suggested that the company was playing on consumers' hopes and dreams, knowing full well that their product couldn't deliver on such promises. They claimed that the company was exploiting consumers' trust by making outlandish claims that they knew they couldn't deliver on. This wasn't just about wings. It was about the broader message that Red Bull was sending to its consumers. The case brought up some important questions about the responsibility of advertisers. Should companies be allowed to make exaggerated claims if they're clearly meant to be taken as a joke? Or do they have a duty to ensure that their marketing is clear and not misleading? Gary's lawyers delved into the history of advertising law, pointing out that there have been many cases where companies were held accountable for misleading claims. They argued that Red Bull's marketing crossed the line from playful exaggeration to deceptive advertising. Consumer protection agencies have long been concerned about the impact of misleading advertising. They argue that even if a claim seems obviously exaggerated, it can still influence consumer behavior in ways that are unfair. For example, someone might choose to buy Red Bull over another energy drink because they believe it offers some unique benefit. If that benefit is based on a misleading claim, then the consumer has been unfairly influenced. The case attracted a lot of media attention, with many people curious to see how it would play out. Some saw it as a frivolous lawsuit, while others saw it as an important stand against deceptive marketing practices. In the end, the court ruled in favor of Gary, agreeing that Red Bull's marketing was misleading. The company was ordered to pay a settlement and to change their advertising practices to make it clear that their product does not literally give you wings. This case serves as a reminder that companies need to be careful about the claims they make in their advertising. While a catchy slogan can be a great marketing tool, it's important to ensure that it doesn't cross the line into deception. So the next time you see an ad that seems too good to be true, remember Gary's story. It's a testament to the power of advertising and the importance of consumer protection. And who knows? Maybe the next time you crack open a can of Red Bull, you'll think twice about what those wings really mean.